welcome to the Trailblazers Experience Podcast. And today I would love to welcome my lovely guest, Robin. Robin, how do I pronounce your surname?
Liu.
Robin Liu.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Trailblazers Experience Podcast.
Thank you. It's such a great pleasure to be here. Really nice to meet you again.
Of course. We've met obviously and sat on a panel discussion talking about China, and I'm really excited today to introduce you, reading your profile and having a chat about you and what you've done so far. Really interested to understand your journey. So I'll introduce you, Robin. Mm-hmm. Robin describes herself as someone who's based in London, a cultural exchange specialist and press strategy expert, bridging the gap between UK and China, incubating influencers and driving impactful media solutions for UK brands entering the China market. She has had a background in working as an assistant director of marketing and cultural center at the largest Chinese media group in Europe for 7 years. Worked with multiple brands, having engaged, which has over 4 million Chinese audience, included in the UK. And is an expert in social marketing strategy, press relations, international film business, and integrated solutions. I mean, look at that, Robin. That's all you.
Oh my God, I feel so shy when people read my profiles. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Let's just start from the beginning in terms of who is Robin? Where's Robin from? You know, what did you study? Your background, I think, is very interesting, just to sort of set the scene for the audience.
All right. Hi, my name is Robin Liu. I'm originally from China, and thank you so much for inviting me, Nicola. It was such a lovely and exciting experience. Last time we met in a panel discussions, we talked about lots of things about influencers, business, how to launch a brand in China. That's really exciting. And I just briefly introduce myself. So I originally came from China.
And where in China, Robin? Where in China?
Henan province. If you heard about like a Shaolin temple, Gongfu, that's where I'm from. Yeah. So I graduated with a bachelor degree, broadcasting and TV production. In 2014, I went to UK for my master degree in University of Exeter and London Film School. It was a joint master degree about international film business. Everything about the film, but film production. So it's about fundraising, the film business, film festival, film distribution.
So more about the business of film production versus the active creative side of it.
Yes, it is. So you work with creative people and manage their budgeting. So it was quite exciting. Yeah. So in 2016, I joined this media group. It's called Nouvelles de Hope Culture Group. So basically, it's one of the largest Chinese media group based in Europe. I'm from the UK office. So in 2020, we established the influencer business brand, Influencer Hub International. It's mainly deliver the influencer marketing strategy and incubating influencers based on the Chinese social media platforms and TikTok, Instagram, the international social media platforms. So and for my main job title role, assistant marketing directors and also the culture center. So we basically deliver like a advertisement for our in-house like media channels and a PR marketing strategy and the solutions, film distribution, event and hospitality, and influencer business.
I know it's massive. I mean, I was researching, obviously working with China in my role, but you know, China is definitely a global leader in influencer marketing. We know about key opinion leaders is the common term that's used, and it is a 41 billion pound industry, influencer marketing.
Oh
I mean,
wow, you
that
did a lot
is,
more research on it.
who knew that talking about products and promoting it could be careers for young men and women out there. Talk to me about why you decided to study what you studied, because that's very niche. What drove you to study, film?
So that was a really interesting story. So because when I was like 6 years old, I found like myself had like a type 1 diabetics, and then my whole family all around me, they want me have a happy and a chill like a lifestyles. So they thought like when they suggest me to choose some like a major or like what kind of like subjects I should learn, they
Mhm.
suggest like maybe media or art, something to make you feel happy. So
Wow.
yeah, so originally I want to study like a medication, something like that, but they thought
Mhm.
like don't give yourself too much pressure of yourself. Yeah. So then I found like I'm really passionate about people, like human beings. Like I do love like to create a lot of like exciting campaigns or events, have an interaction and engagement with the people, and also from the media side, you can know and meet the people from the different industries. Even you have no idea what you need to do for your future career, but at least you can meet people and learn from them and see whether you want or not. So that's how I think and start to choose this industry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is such an inspiring story. And I can really empathize with where you're coming from because, type 1 diabetes, you're born with it, it is, and probably there's a stigma or there was a stigma in the past about, um, in terms of, maybe that you might be limited to certain things. But actually, fast forward to 2023, you are a healthy
Still
young
alive.
lady, healthy young lady, killing it in your industry. And that was very thoughtful of your parents to say, right, we want her to have a creative sort of career journey to make her life as interesting and as happy as possible while living with type 1 diabetes. So it's such an inspiring story. I mean, and the fact that
Thank
you've
you.
been vulnerable enough to share that is important too. And it feels like you enjoy your job. You're an expert. Talk to me about Influencer Hub and why it's been such an interesting journey and what you enjoy about that particular role.
Okay, so during the COVID in 2020, at that time it was like a really difficult time for all the industries. So at that time we start up a it's called a influencer incubation campus for the young talents who want to share their life and show the diverse of their lifestyles and try to inspire the people who are in such a difficult the time. So that's the reason why we start over like the first journey of the Influencer Hub International. So at that time we create a different theme of the works, which give them a education and tutorials like to share the lead influencers in the industry, how they start their business, and how to make a video, how to make a vlog, and also we encourage them to find out like a unique part of themselves and share on the platforms. Because at that time we haven't think about it could be a business. We just try to to create something, make everybody feel confident and to to share their life and see how different the work it is. So after that, we found a lot of sponsors started to come to us and see whether we can work with all the at that time we call them like a key OC, yeah, key opinion consumers, because they are like a small amount of the followers, but it's still very powerful in their very niche areas. So at the
And is
time,
that because, so okay, key opinion consumers, is that because they've got a small follower base, but it's, I want to use the word authentic. It's authentic because they have a genuine interest in
yeah,
the brands that they're talking about.
yeah. So how can I say that? Because we that's my fault. I would call it as a macro influencers at that
Yes.
time. Yes,
Yeah.
that would be better. Yeah, because right now in a generator like a public file, like they saw KOC means like a macro influencers. That's my fault. Yeah. So so we start the influencer the kind of like influencer services and business from that. And we found we could work with the people who has already had a quite a lot of experience in their industry and incubate their personal brands and as a influencer, and to share their experience and how they thought and their life in the social. So from that time, we start to work with more industries and help them to incubate their personal brands. Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
we start to now. And also, we found the influencers is more like a networking, the circles. Once you start first. Incubate your first influencers. Lots of the people are in how can I say lots of people in this kind of like a market, they would come to you and wish maybe they could have a chance being incubated or to join your networks. One, they can have more opportunities to work with the brands, and also they could have some insights or support from your media group. And yeah, we are always welcome for the people from all the industries and join with us. And another part, the brands finally notice you are working with so many influencers, so they want you to deliver the campaign in that networks. So then we build up a kind of like a business model, so focus on the influencer incubation and the influencer business, and help them to create the influencer social solutions based on the social media platforms. Maybe Chinese brand who want to explore the international market, or the UK brand who want to enter China market. So we will help them to work with on the creative brief and the strategy and deliver the whole campaign. Yeah.
I mean, it's a genius idea, just the whole idea of incubating influencers, helping creatives find their voice. And like you said, building those relevant connections and networks, and you're giving them the expert support, saying, actually, this is how you become a successful creator. And I was just checking the stats as well about, the different levels of influencers and how they're broken down. So a nano influencer has 1K to 10K followers. A micro influencer has 10K to 100K followers. A macro influencer has 100K to a million followers. And with all of that, there's a price bracket as well for brands. So if you're a high end brand such as, Gucci, etc., you're probably dealing with macro influencers who, you've got the money and the budget to spend. But I mean, I consider myself a nano influencer. My fitness Instagram is over 500, not 500K, 500 followers. So I'm still in that small demographic, but I suppose with the smaller influencers, like you said, the ones that you work with,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually better for businesses from a return on investment. So they're not spending as much money, but it's authentic because they have a genuine interest in the brand, and you can see them grow as they create that content too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the project we worked with CBBC actually is based on these ideas. So we provide like an influencer, like macro influencers to get the key OC, let's say key OC, to do the test with a brand and give them the feedback and how they feel, like whether I like the packaging, whether it's okay to do the promotion on the Chinese social media platforms, and what is the best selling part, because the customer choice is quite different. Compared with like two markets. I heard a very interesting story. Like the drinks, Bally's. The
Yes.
Bally's liquor.
Yeah. The alcoholic drink.
Yeah. So sorry, I mentioned the
No, that's fine. Hey, we're not being sponsored by anyone.
Yeah.
Right. Talk about it.
Yeah. So as I heard, so in UK market, majority the customers actually they are senior, female, people in the UK market. As I heard the research, but actually in China, majority like a young generation, they prefer to drink it with milk and ice cubes. Yeah, because it's sweet, milky flavors and easy access. You see the whole difference.
Yeah, that is so interesting. No, I'm just looking here. I've just Googled just to find out. So it says here that Bailey's Irish Cream has a sweet spot for a female consumer between 21 to 29 years old. So it feels like they are targeting a specific cohort of customers. But what in China they drink it with milk, ice cubes. So it's like a milkshake.
Yeah, sort of things.
I need to try that on the weekend. I mean, onto something there.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So how does that relate? So obviously, if you have influencers that you are incubating, it's about how do you create the content that is relevant to talk about that product in that market, isn't it?
Yeah, so normally we would suggest a brand before your official launch, your strategy, better to do the test in front, in advance, because how can I say, sometimes the feedback from the KOC will be completely different from like the past experience. I believe because you are running the brand like I'm a Bridgewater, right? So you definitely know like I believe that's something will be different. Compared with your like original like ideas you're gonna to deliver, right?
For each country, yeah. So what we found is, I think as a brand, our unique selling proposition, our brand is our strength and our story and our product.
Yeah.
And we should, the main thing is we should continue to make amazing product that people around the world will want to buy. The main difference is how that product is used and interpreted in the other markets. And it's respecting that. That's what we've had to learn. So the fundamental is staying true to the brand. And that's for any brand. Stay true to who your brand, your story, your USP. And then how do you respect the cultures and the countries that you're going into and how that product is going to be consumed. That's been a very big learning, definitely.
Yeah, because we also run the social media accounts and newspaper, very traditional as well. So, but we had first-hand information about the how the audience they like. So during that journey, like we found there is a gap. I would say like a gap between the culture understanding. So we thought maybe we can do something for that and being a bridge for culture and business exchange. So that's how I felt from the beginning of the first years in working in this company, and then we slightly focus on that sessions and try to create more like campaigns and the events to encourage the the communications between like two countries. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. So talk to me, Robin, within this role, which, it feels like it's grown over time and expanded into these different areas. What are some achievements that you're proud of, things that you can talk about?
Oh, in Asian culture, sometimes it's a little bit shy to say like I'm very proud of some works I delivered. So the first one I would say the first film I distributed in 2019, because finally I did something about what I specifically studied when I was in master degree.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's always
so
good for your parents as well to say, yes, the degree was worth it.
yeah. Yeah, that was quite a nice film. It was joined with like a few different stories about China. Yeah, so and at that time, so we got in this year we hit the box office. It's ranking as number 18th in entire box office in the UK of the year.
Oh wow!
I
So what's the name of the movie? Can I see it? Watch it?
yeah, I definitely will share with the link shortly.
Yeah.
I was quite proud of it because that's the first film I distributed, and especially in the in a for me it's a foreigner country. So basically, we start to learn from the zero. Even you learn quite a lot, like the theory from the school, but still for the practical side, yeah, that was kind of things like we only prepare for 2 weeks for the
Hmm.
film distribution. Yeah, so that's I was quite proud of it. And the second one is a live event we delivered still in 2019. So the Portview Park nearby the Tower
Hmm.
Bridge. Yeah, so we hired the whole area and created the catwalks, around like 100 models for the Hangzhou Qingsong Dress is Qipao, Hangzhou Qipao Festival. Yeah, so the very nice the dress. So we created the catwalks.
So it's a cultural festival.
Yeah,
Yeah.
culture festival,
Hmm.
and also we deliver the pop-up dance with a singer and to combine with the ballets and the traditional like dance Chinese dancers. Yeah, and also to create a interaction booth. So we got a Chinese very traditional fans, and the young artists, they drawn the the images of maybe the Tower Bridge or Big Ben and give away to the all the visitors and Chinese folk bands, live
Hmm.
music to manage the whole things all in two staffs like in our company. So that was quite exciting. Like you prepare everything from the zero and you design everything and then you deliver it, and you found like everyone they quite enjoying with it, and we invited like local influencers, invited them to try the dresses, and I found a lot of like images and posts on the Instagram. I was quite excited about that. Yeah.
So really nice to see something go from ideation
Yes.
stage to
Yeah.
concept to actually, running around, getting everything sorted. I mean, that's it, isn't it? Project management, going a
Project
bit crazy in the
management.
background, and then
Yeah.
seeing the film live in the cinemas or wherever it
Yeah.
is, or the particular
Yeah.
event that you had. What
Yeah.
are some challenges, Robin? Surely it's not all rosy. It's not all, brilliant all the time. What some challenges you faced?
How to balance your work and life, I
Oh,
think.
tell me about it.
Yeah, because basically due to my health conditions, I probably
Mm,
need a alert all the time to think about my the blood sugar levels, and whether I can do all the preparations in advance. So I would spend more time. I mean, comparing with the people with a healthy condition. So it did. Um, it was it was a real like a challenge for me from at the beginning, and also because when you face some like challenges, it could be an excuse like sometimes for you say, okay, maybe you just do not do that. You cannot compare with them, but in your deep heart, and there will be another voice like say, you need to deliver it perfectly. Then you can create like more opportunities for the young people like you. Give them a space to a chance to have a proper job and work, and let people to trust them, right? So in that side, I always like try to convince myself, like hold on, let's do it.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, it's interesting that you've raised that. So, do you move with a particular machine then with yourself for your?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got a insulin pump. It's
Yes.
a tubeless insulin pump right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to show. I don't know whether it's okay to take off
No,
the
no. Do
coat.
you know
Yeah,
what? So, for those who are not can't see the visuals, she's
yeah. You
basically
might
showing
see
us. Yeah,
that you can monitor your sugar levels
of
from
course.
your mobile app. And
Mm-hmm.
here is a insulin pump, tubeless
Yes.
insulin pump,
Yeah.
which you could have a controller.
Yeah.
Um, so you set up a basals and try to simulate like the people how their pancreas to generate the insulin, and
Yeah.
then before you eat, and or maybe have a like some special occasions you need to adjust the levels of insulin you're gonna inject, or like lower the insulin levels. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's a big adjustment, isn't it? Even I was talking to last week a luxury fashion stylist. So, for example, if she had you come into for a styling session, you wear
yeah,
lots of blazers, so you
yeah,
probably do that as well. You've got really great style, Robin, but you're probably doing that as well because you don't want people to see the thing on the
yeah.
side and all these things. There's a lot to think about.
Yeah, so
When you're doing.
previously I was quite scared with that, but nowadays it's okay. I just thought like it would be just another label of myself, like because I felt like before I start my careers, all my full label is type 1 diabetic girl. At that time, I was like very like less confident with that, but
Yeah.
and you were taught by your everybody around you like don't push yourself very hard, and don't do that much challenges. We love you and we don't want you being like so difficult. But once you start your once I started my university, and I live my own, and you work independently, and you felt like oh wow, I can do that. Oh, I can do this. I can do that. And you feel more confident, to tell your story and share story. Because otherwise, it will only be a trauma of yourself. But the time when you can share your story with other people and encourage the people in your similar situation, at that time, you were fixed, and you'll be cured by yourself. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel during that.
Robin, you are such an inspiration. I mean, your illness doesn't define you, but it inspires you, it motivates you, and it just shows that we just need to continue to have a more inclusive, society. It doesn't make you any less. It makes you actually, you're still
Thank you.
creative, you still are contributing, you still have a, flourishing career. But, when you talk about work-life balance, it's literally you are the definition. You have to watch what you eat. You need to watch your
Yeah,
levels, etc. So, thank you for sharing. It's important. It's inspiring
yeah.
as well.
Because
Yeah.
I always really thank to the whole society and the communities. Because I know, like in my situation, without the development of the science and the technology, I won't
Yes.
survive by that. So the reason why we start to do the influencer things, because we saw that we can make some contribution to this society. maybe from the technology levels, I'm not smart enough to innovate anything about that. But at least we can create a lot of very valuable content and exciting news and or even create or even write on the stories and share the stories with the audience. So just make some contribution to the society.
Yeah. So if someone is listening who says, I'm really interested in your career, I'm really interested in, working in a similar industry, what do you think are some of the soft skills or qualities that are important for young ladies working in your team?
So multitask, definitely that's really important, because you might notice once we want to deliver a project, it means you need a lot of skills. Sometimes you might be asked the works you thought is not relatable to you, but actually you can learn from each thing that you don't know. And maybe 1 year or 2 years later, you finally realize all the skills or the knowledges you learn from that make you today. Made you today. So I would suggest first being curious for everything, and accept the suggestions, or then you can do your own evaluations, but just listen and make your own decisions, and just do not try, I'm not interested about that, or I'm not interested about this. Just being open-minded to the world, that's really important, because nowadays whatever economics or the technology development, it was so fast. The people, they have to be open-minded to accept the world. Otherwise, it will be easier to lay back. In this industry, I believe you must know that.
Robin, you're like singing to me. It's how even just digital itself, how it's evolved so quickly. And just, I was watching an interview. I don't know if you've heard the brand called Cortez. And I heard about this brand. My son is the one who told me about it, saying they work in drops. There's, guerrilla marketing.
Ooh.
He's made every person who's worn his product, whether it's a celebrity or not, they've bought it. He's not seeded anything. And his strategy was, you'd see, if you watch on YouTube, you see kids running around. He posts locations of where he was having drops. And then he did the bolo jacket exchange.
Wow.
Where he basically said, bring all your jackets. And, I think he'd made a production run of his bolo jacket and said, you exchange yours,
Wow.
and I'll now give you mine. Now, that jacket at the time didn't even have a price point.
Wow.
Well, people were going with their Nuptse North Face, which retails for around $250. Some people were going with more higher priced jackets, and the jackets that were all exchanged, he then obviously donated them. But if you just think how the guy who's created this brand has just been unconventional. Speaking to the youth, using digital and social media. And that is how brands need to think moving forward, the ones that are going to be successful. You need to listen to the young influencers. You need to move with the technology. You need to active listening, but also forward thinking as to how is this going to make my brand survive. So you can't be rigid, I think, is really important.
So I felt so when I was young, I always learn from mentors, maybe from their experience. But right now, I had a lot of young friends, because I always be really inspired by them, and they were the generation growing up with the internet. Actually, the information they learn, they have received is, I don't know how many times than me, but I always learn new things from them. That's really, really exciting. So another things I would recommend is respect the young people. That's really important. Even you are young, but respect the younger generation. and just do not ignore so it's not relevant about yourself, and always learn from the different group. Yeah, that's really important as well.
Yeah, that's interesting because I talk about mentorship a lot on this platform, and we often think as mentors as, you know, elders, those who've walked the path
Yeah.
before and have all the wisdom and insights and decades of experience. But actually, a younger person, like you said, can also offer an entire different perspective and
Yeah.
view, you know,
Yeah.
that helps you challenge the way you think and just think differently and change your perspective. So we need to look to the old and the young as well,
Yeah.
in everything that we do. How large is your team?
Okay, so normally it's about like four people. But
Yeah.
once we have a project, we have our own contractors and freelancers. So
Okay.
it will expand into a very huge group. It
Of
really
course.
depends on the what the project looks like. So
Yeah.
we have really close we work with a few very close like freelancers. They could deliver nice works because that's how media industry looks like.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
right.
combination of outsourcing, in-house,
Mm-hmm.
freelancers. It's so there's a lot of networking involved from your part, then, Robin, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is because media is kind of like a platform. So you basically share all the information, and you receive all the feedbacks from the audience as well. So you know the people from the different industries, and which really helped me. I thought like every day I'm learning from people. Maybe they are from the financial industry or from the sports industries. The rules, how they so we recently signed a how can I say? We recently signed upcoming influencer. So he's a polo athlete. Yeah, so he play in a professional polo matches, and is a very young Chinese boy. Studied physics in in Paris College,
Wow.
master degree and everything. Well, that was so exciting, and you learn all the things and from them. It did give me a kind of like a creative idea bounce from all the peoples I know. So that was really exciting. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, that is so interesting. So the guy studied physics and he's playing polo and now he's an influencer. I mean,
That's nowadays you cannot.
you can do it all. If packaging doesn't work out, you can always do something else. Talk to
Yeah.
me about, Robin, how you spend your free time. Obviously, you've talked about being a type 1 diabetic, but you know, how do you spend your free time? How does Robin unwind?
All right. I did. I didn't separate my life and works that much. So sometimes working is life. Life is working. Especially main services on my side is on social media. So sometimes even you just watch the social media, you still have an
Overlap.
alert. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
overlap. You still got an alert. Oh, that's a really good one. Next time I'm gonna work with them. So yeah, but if I have a free time, I'll always do the preparation. So for example, if I have a very free Sunday, I will prepare lunch for my next Monday.
Also, you do
Well,
prepping. You
yeah,
your food. So do you cook? Do you enjoy cooking then?
yeah, cooking is, how can I say? I won't eat immediately. I just
Yeah.
enjoy the whole processing. It's
Yeah.
like a mindfulness. Like you just focus on the moment at
Yes.
the present, and you
Yes.
just basically you clean your brain and your mind, and you cook all things, and always cook more than I need. So the
Yeah. I
keep
guess
in the
also,
fridge.
yeah. And also for you, so do you cook traditional Chinese food, or what do you prep? What does meal prepping look like for you?
Purely fusion. So
Yes.
you combine the cheese with maybe Chinese rice
Yeah.
noodle.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might doing the salad but use like a Chinese sauce, like the
Oh, I love
dressing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
uh,
is there a Chinese film? Is there film playing in the background or is there music? What's happening when you're cooking? What's going on?
Classic rock music.
Okay, girl.
Yeah. I played the guitar when I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I even had like a band. Just sing for fun for a
Yes.
couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do enjoy the classic rock music. I still remember the first day when I decided to study in the UK for my master degree. So the visa team staff, they asked me the question like, why would you choose study in the UK? I was like, one, I love the Beatles, and two, I do enjoy working in the rainy day. He said, okay, fair enough. He just go.
That is so interesting. No, because I
Yeah,
was going to ask you, I was like, so, classic rock was, these Guns N' Roses, AC/DC,
yeah.
Metallica. That's sort of your vibe going on with that.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
sometimes it's about nature songs. Because sometimes I during the work where I want to focus on something, I need
Hmm.
some like a background sounds. So
Yeah.
I always play the whales singing in the ocean.
Right. Okay.
They got 2 hours from the YouTube, like
Yeah.
well, sing in the ocean. So you just feel very like inner peace during that.
Yes, yeah. When I'm trying to take like afternoon nap, I like to have like National Geographic playing in the background, and like you said, like
Yeah,
they're talking about the animals in the Antarctica
yeah,
or all these things, and that just calms me. It's like calming sounds, calm music in the background to keep you going. But
yeah.
yeah, that's really interesting. So talk to me about where is Robin in 5 years? Do you have plans to go back to China, or where do you see your career going? Because obviously you're very young, you're in a sector that's interesting as well. So not just from a film distribution perspective, from the business that you work for, but now the influencer hub. Where do you see yourself going?
Sadly, I don't have a plan. To be honest, till now, I just cannot imagine. Let's say like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I even didn't know I will be in the UK for such a long time and can deliver so many things like that. I feel like just follow your heart
Hmm.
and just one principle, as I mentioned before, did I make a contribution to this society? That's really important. As long as you can create values for everyone around you and make your own contribution to the society, and also create more opportunities for the people like me. I can see the young me. If I know like you can have such nice feature, I would study much more harder when I was young. Yeah,
You're thinking back, oh, I should have paid more attention to that subject matter there.
yeah, I shouldn't always play in the playground or play basketball or like doing lots like with so many times like being like
Yeah.
being like very very, how can I say, they call it is I'm a boring person because I always make jokes everywhere. So I probably will use my like a more time focused on the studies and
Yeah,
you
instead
know.
of being very witty and making jokes and playing around. Robin, but that's what makes you who you are. You can't be too serious all the time and too
Yeah,
rigid,
and
isn't
I
it?
felt like a special connection with the UK. So I felt like during my starting at that time, the UK Prime Minister, it was Theresa May, right? At that time,
Hmm.
yeah. Actually, she is a type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just realized that like I just felt like oh wow. I got inspiration from her like experience, like she, because I was inspired by that. So I felt like maybe I can choose the different directions and make some things, and then to show a different path to the young generation with the type 1 diabetics. Because I saw so many of them, they dead because they lose the faith of themselves. So it's really about something you need to control your body and continue your life to be confident. That's really important, because once you start to lose control of yourself, you immediately appearing the the harm for yourself. So and some damages cannot be fixed. So that's the reason why I thought that's really important to plant a seed for their future.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that is so inspirational. I mean, there are so many people, like you said, who are living with type 1 diabetes. I mean, Nick Jonas, Halle Berry, like you said, Theresa May, I didn't know that. And, like you said, knowing and seeing other people who have a similar disease as you have, but they're flourishing in their different industries and sectors, that is already inspirational as it is. And you mentioned a very important point about wanting to contribute to society and leaving a positive impact. It's a good aspiration and a good principle to live by, because it sets the foundation to say, this is my core value, this is my belief. And then whatever direction you're going in terms of your career, it will always be guided by that principle.
Yes, that's really important. The first priority principle for myself.
Yeah. Are there any other core values that define you, that guide you, Robin?
And also I felt like to know who you are and what you really want is really important. Because people, they might be lost in directions because they are so miserable when they were young. But I felt I would suggest they can find their unique part as a source of energy, and give them the encourage to continue their journey. So I thought to really understand yourself, maybe just every week, just ask yourself a few questions, and who you are you happy, and who do you think who you are, right? And that's really important side. So and in that part, I thought could get the young people to find what they really are, because sometimes the career, it was how can I say, it was not there, but people, they innovated and then discover it and build up as a career. So you cannot do the definition of it or learn from somebody. So you should find your own way. So that's the reason why I felt you definitely need to ask yourself every day who you are. That's really important.
That's a very interesting insight. So yes, it's interesting. Obviously there's specific, I'm trying to think of, because my sister's a doctor and she's trying, she's going to become a consultant.
Wow.
So she's had a period of looking through the various departments, and where does she see herself? Where would she see herself working? Who is she? So even in that industry, you'd still have to define who you are.
Yes.
And then similar, if you study marketing or architecture, it's like, where do you see yourself?
Yes.
Who are you?
Yes.
You constantly have to self-evaluate and ask yourself these questions, because ultimately a job is a job. But you still need to think about, okay, what does this mean to me apart from the monetary aspect? So making the money. What does this really mean to me and my contribution? You're a wise young lady, Robin.
Thank you for explaining my idea.
Oh no, you're very wise. I'm gonna have a chat with myself afterwards.
Honestly, when I look, I told my friends it's a very emo weeks for me, because I look through all the question lists. I know how you design, and what's your idea, how you're gonna deliver, and I ask myself all those questions because I forgot to ask myself for a while. I said, "Oh my god, did I follow my principle? And am I happy? How do I, get along with myself? When I have a free time,
Yeah,
I haven't think about it for a really long time. And so thank you so much, for giving me this chance to,
to
do all the
self-evaluate.
reflections.
Oh, that is so interesting. No, it's true. I think even as general as women, you talked about multitasking. We are just built for, doing multiple things and just getting on with stuff
Yeah,
and taking the time, like you said, to sit down and reflect about what you've done, what you've accomplished, and
yeah,
it's actually okay to be proud of whatever stage you are in your life, in your career,
yes,
and whatever stage you're in, it's okay. But are you happy if that's where you want to remain at that period of time? That's fine. If you're more ambitious and you want to go in a different
yeah,
direction, that's fine. I
yeah.
think it's all these things that we never take the time just to sit down and just have a aha breather moment.
Yes, indeed. And I felt like my suggestions is only based on my experience because
Yeah.
people they have a different personalities. They have their favorite foods or favorite music. Everybody is diverse, right? So I felt like you can learn from the whole different ideas, but just find the way you feel comfortable with that. And the health is the very important things because I I didn't have it from the beginning, so I know how important it could be. It's kind of like a foundation for all the things. So yeah, you first need to look after yourself, and then you can look after someone else. Yeah.
Honestly, you've just hit the nail on the head. I mean, health and well-being, that's just the important thing. If you would talk about list of priorities, I think they did a survey about high performing or high net worth individuals. One of the things they have at the top of their list is health and wellness. So, waking up early, meditating or taking walks or thinking about what they eat. It's because it's a very big part to have a longevity to live long, but also just have clarity in terms
Yeah,
of mind. And then,
yeah,
not, if you had a choice of not having to take insulin, you'd take that in a heartbeat, isn't it? So
yeah, yeah.
it's all these things that we need to think about for sure.
Yeah, because due to my experience, I have to learn the nutritions and everything. So then you figure out like lots like vitamins will affect your conditions or
Mm,
thinkings, or the how the you feel energetic or happy or disappointed. Sometimes it's all related about all the macro stuff. So
yeah,
actually people they do need to do the self-care, and not only for gym, for yoga, maybe for some like a body check with your vitamin D levels, or or take some like a vitamin B to make sure your brain being energetic or something. That's really important. As long as you have a healthy body and a very healthy mental conditions, and you trust yourself, everything have a result. I mean, because
exactly. You get
yeah,
what you put in,
yeah,
isn't it?
but your attitude,
Yeah.
it means everything for yourself.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I can't agree more. Robin, Trailblazer takeaways, if they were, circling back to our whole conversation, you've shared some really important nuggets and things that I've, just written down. I need to also go and reflect for myself. But if there were, three things you'd share as a Trailblazer takeaway tip for a young lady out there, what would it be?
Young ladies, okay. So first, like you can only deliver a nice work if you believe or you want to. That's very important things for them. And and maybe you have a difficulty at that moment. Just imagine like you are nowadays living in 10 years later, and you look back, will you be bothered by this problem? So everything will be okay. Yeah. And also always be humble. Do not be that ignorance, whatever like a subculture or a young generation or older generations, and just like listen all the informations you got and do your own evaluation and make all the knowledge as your own, and it will support you to like whatever like live better or work longer. Yeah, that's 3 tips I would share with the young girls. Yeah.
I mean, I was nodding my head here. I mean, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it. And being
Yeah.
humble is a big one. I think the being humble one, every day I have to remind myself. I remember my dad always says, and my dad is a very wise man. He uses the quote of don't argue with a fool or an idiot. So there's no point, because then you also become the fool of the idiot. So that falling back and just being humble and quiet, it's an interesting tactic. But in the moment, your brain is like, I just want to say this. I just want to. But you've shared some really good nuggets of information. Robin, this has been really, really good. I mean, I'm looking forward to you
Thank
sharing
you.
the links of your film. I think because I think it's important for people to
Yeah.
maybe watch it and see the work that you put into that. But yeah,
Yeah.
if people want to find you on the socials, on LinkedIn,
Yeah. So
really,
people, they
really,
can search my Robin Liu in LinkedIn profile. I think you will find some profile looks like me, and you can connect. Yeah. So the next film we're gonna to distribute is about a love relationship about older generation. Yeah. So it will be in we were planning distribute in Chinese Valentine's Days. So I thought it's a really impressive film about the Alzheimer between the like senior lovers, and also the fact that the issues they're gonna to face the ways. Yeah. So I haven't come up with the marketing strategy for the younger generation, but I will definitely share you later once I have some ideas with that.
oh my God, I'm sure that will be an interesting movie, because the last movie that I watched, and I'm sure the movie is much better than this one, but have you ever watched the Pixar movie Up?
Up.
Yes.
Right, up.
Yeah.
Wow. I
Robin, you
think
need to watch it. It's about the older man and his wife, and his wife passes away, and
I watch it. I watch it. I
course,
watch it in Chinese name. Sorry about that.
yeah, he was so grumpy, and then at
Yeah.
the end he
The
reads this.
animation, right? The
Yeah, the
animation.
animation. At the end of the movie, he reads, the book that she'd put together with all the things that she was grateful for, and he was chasing the wrong thing. I was just like, oh, I just want someone to love me like this. It's like,
Ooh. Yeah. You see
yeah,
the part of it, how they know each other and grown up. That's so sweet. Yeah.
yeah. So I think stories about, older people, love and relationships, they're very sweet because they're based on key fundamentals and values that are not materialistic. It's on different principles. So yeah,
I was
really good.
thinking something like trust and love again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, Robin, thank you so much. This has been amazing. This has been brilliant.
Thank you so much
And
for inviting me.
yeah, this has been another episode of the Trailblazers Experience Podcast, and hope to speak soon.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.